Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bandit's Den. I don't know if you guys recall, a few months ago, I was talking about eating a pizza with 3 different meat toppings on it and feeling remorse for the animals that it was made of. Well, I've felt that feeling ever since. Every time I eat animal products, and I've tried various methods of dealing with it. I've tried pushing it out of my mind. I've tried rationalizing why I eat animals. But those two things always bring me back to, well, that animal was an individual. And I can get into it later why I think that. But they do have their own personalities. They do have their own motives and quirks, just like humans. So I tried being spiritual about it. You know, like the stereotypical Native American way of dealing with it. I would be eating my meal, and then that thought would go into my head like, this is an animal I'm eating, an individual that wanted to live. And I would pray and thank the animal for the provision of sustenance that I received through its death. And I don't know, it still didn't really feel right. It felt better to an extent, but it still didn't really feel right. Because I knew that it was unnecessary. I've seen vegans like Nimai Delgado, who is a bodybuilding champion, who is a vegan. There are triathletes who are vegan. Some of the top-ranking people in athletics are vegan. So I knew there was an alternative. I knew there was no real excuse for eating animals, but I was doing it anyways. And another thing that was holding me back was, for some reason, this is what happens. When people are eating meat, nobody cares about their fucking health. Nobody is worried about their nutrient levels and crap. But as soon as an omnivore is suggested, hey, why don't you maybe go vegan? Oh, that's like, oh, my health, though. And I was experiencing that. I was like, oh, well, my health will decline if I go vegan. It's like, well, yesterday I shoveled down 3 Whoppers, a large Coke, and a large fries. And so I don't think that worrying about my health, I don't think it's a really good time to worry about it right now, right? But I didn't see that. So eventually, 2.5 weeks ago, I caved. I was like, okay, this is it. I can't take the guilt anymore. Hi, Klaus. What's the matter? You guys want to see Klaus? See, this is how big he is now. Remember how small he was? Yeah, he used to almost fit in one of my hands. Yeah, he's like one of those sponge things that you throw in water and it grows over the course of 3 days to like 10 times its size. Yeah, that's little Klausy boy here. So, anyways, I was like, you know what? I finally caved. I'm like, I'm not worrying about my fucking health right now while I'm eating meat. I'm kidding myself here. So the guilt is getting to me. So I'm going to just go ahead and switch and worry about the fucking nutrients later. I'm going to switch right now. And so the first thing I went for was high protein. And I have a higher protein intake today than when I was eating meat. And I've gained like 8 pounds in 2 weeks, mostly in muscle, just from going vegan. And my muscle recovery is faster. I can think straighter at work. I don't tire out as easily. And yeah, I'm more on top of the ball. Klaus, you're a good puppy. Yeah, he's getting adjusted pretty well. So anyways, about animals being individuals, my neighbors a while back. Not any of my current neighbors. It was in a different neighborhood. They had a pig, a pet pig, and it was a normal livestock pig, but it was their friend. It was their buddy that lived in their house. And that pig was potty trained. It knew different commands. It would show happiness when its owners came home. It would show sadness when they left. And it had its own quirks. I observed it a couple times, how it behaves in the backyard. And it had its own personality, just like a dog. Even fish. I used to have an aquarium with all kinds of different tetras. I had tiger, what were they? Tiger tetras or whatever the hell. Neon tetras, guppies, plecostomi. I even had ghost shrimp and snails in it. Well, there was this one neon tetra, the smallest species of fish that I had. There was this one little neon tetra. Oh, and I had bubbles in my aquarium. One of the back corners had bubbles in it, and I had bubbles spread all over the place to keep oxygen in the water for the number of fish I had. So this back corner bubbles, there was this one neon tetra that liked to go swim to the bottom of the bubbles and let the bubbles carry him up almost to the surface. And then he would exit the bubbles and go back down, and he would do it over and over and over for 10, 20 minutes sometimes. And then he would go back and return to the school. He wasn't sick or anything. His mind was right, because he would eat when it was feeding time like a normal fish. He would swim with the school like a normal fish. But once in a while, he would get a wild hair up his ass and decide, I'm going to have some fun with those bubbles again. That's the only way I can explain it, is that little fish just liked to have fun. And that was his personality, different from his peers. So, through my life experiences, I've found that pretty much every animal has its own personalities. Each animal, no matter how small, has ideas of fun and happiness and sadness. And they all experience emotions like us. And we all know very well they all feel pain like us. And so every animal must have the same will to survive like all of us. And so when it's obvious, when there are highly competitive athletes who are vegan, it's quite obvious that everyday Joes like me can survive off of a vegan diet as well. And so what's my excuse for eating meat? What's my excuse for contributing to the death of animals when I don't have to? And he's pushing buttons. Like a cat. Sometimes this dog is very cat-like. So, anyways, I just, and then from a spiritual perspective too, if we're all interconnected and stuff, if this world is one world and like a giant organism, then humans eating other animals is like a virus, or like AIDS. We're like the immune system gone haywire, and it's eating the body that it belongs to, and needlessly too. And of course, guys, I'm not going like soy based or something. The vast majority of the protein I was telling you about, which far surpasses the protein I was consuming when I was eating meat and dairy. I consume a lot more protein now than before. Most of that protein comes from oats and beans. That's where it comes from. I eat about 160 grams of protein every day, which is akin to a powerlifter's regimen. A lot of powerlifters consume around that much, maybe 200 grams of protein with a meat and dairy based diet, but a lot of them end up consuming like 8,000 calories or something. I'm still down around 4,000. What I normally consume in order to fuel my body for work, hard work. So, I'm doing just fine. I've figured out the different nutrients that a vegan diet lacks, and I've found supplements that are essentially made out of dirt and rocks to replace that. So, yeah, I just had to switch because there's no excuse. And being an animal lover the way that I am, I just couldn't take it anymore. So the decision has made me really happy overall. I perform better at work. I have more energy overall. And, the feeling it gives me inside is totally worth it. The average American eats 7,000 animals throughout their lifetime. I think that number is kind of low for me because I used to eat all kinds of mud bugs, shrimp, and snails. And so if you throw those in the mix, oh fuck, I've probably eaten more than 7,000 animals already at this point in my life. I could eat about 80 mud bugs in one sitting and then go for some chicken and rice after that. So I'm pretty sure I've surpassed 7,000 animals eaten already. And I don't want to make that number any higher. Instead, I want to make the number higher animals that I've saved in my lifetime by not eating them. And of course, there's an argument for everything. Oh, there's a little bit of animal product in this or that. Or there's, agricultural land kills animals anyways. Well, the thing is, if the world went vegan, which is unlikely, it's unlikely. If the world went vegan, then we wouldn't need as much land for crops, because 1 kilogram of grains goes to feed 16 kilograms of grains goes to feed 1 kilogram of meat at factory farms. And that's a huge difference. We would be able to cut down our agricultural land a lot if we all stopped eating meat. And we wouldn't have to encroach as much when population grows. We wouldn't have to encroach as quickly as we already are on wild habitats. And then, of course, another argument is, oh, well, those animals that we eat, they will go extinct if we're not eating them. Well, how fulfilling of a life do you think it is to be raised until you're barely an adult and then eaten? And living a shitty life throughout the entire time anyways. Just imagine if the entire human race, not a single human was left behind. The entire human race was abducted by aliens because they had a taste for our flesh. And there was absolutely no possible escape for the human race off of their mothership. And they kept us quarantined in pens to live in our shit and piss, feeding us garbage fucking food until we turn 18. And then we're either selectively bred until we turn 25, or we're eaten at the age of 18. And then those who were used to selectively breed, when they get to about 25, they're getting kind of old. So off them too, and put them on our dinner plates. Do you think that's a very high quality life for mankind? Absolutely not. And so if you had a choice to leave the human race in that kind of predicament, or the human race just not exist at all, what would you choose? I personally would choose for the human race to not exist at all. Because if there's absolutely no escape from that essentially living hell, then why even go through all of that just to die and end up on a dinner plate? I wouldn't want that for myself or my children or anybody else. I wouldn't want anybody to go through formative years and learn about this and that and develop a brain until the point where they're fairly conscious about the entire world and others, and then you get a bolt in the head, throat slit and turned upside down so you could bleed out and pushed into the processing plant so that you can be eaten. And that doesn't appeal to me. I would rather the entire human race be dead instead of experience that over and over and over for all of eternity. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. So, sure, their species will be extinct, but their species was created by humans in the first place. And of course, there will be people who like to keep these animals as pets, so I don't think they would die off completely. I'm sure there will be people who like to have a cow sanctuary. And there's cows and bulls that roam free like wild animals, except they don't have any predators because it's a 500 acre property with a huge fucking fence around it. I'm sure there would be some rich people like that, like, hey, look at my cows. People used to eat these. Can you believe that? Haha. What a novelty. And I'm sure people would continue to have pet pigs, just like my neighbors did. Friends to accompany you throughout life. They would, yeah. And I've heard chickens have their own personalities too. And so, why wouldn't people have chickens as friends? I've seen people on YouTube who have chickens as friends. Ducks too. So anyways, I guess that concludes this video. I made a super long one before, and I wanted to cut it down a little bit. But I can rest easy now. I don't feel bad at all, and I feel really healthy as a result of my choice. And I'm really happy about it. That's about all I have to say. So, you guys, stay strong out there, pursue some truths for yourself, and try going vegan if you want. It's pretty fun thinking up all of these plant-based meals that I can cook for myself that are tasty and nutritious and better for me than my old diet. But anyways, of course I always enjoy talking to you guys. But until next time, you guys stay strong out there. Peace.